at this time, you are encouraged to refill your beverages. Marianne? All right. Some light comedy. This quarantine has been crazy, right? I never expected it to last this long, and I'm sure, like many of you, I've picked up a few new hobbies these couple of weeks living at home. One of them is baking, and in fact yesterday I was making some cookies, and I accidentally swallowed some food coloring. But luckily I called my doctor and she said I'm okay, but I still feel like I've died a little inside. Thank you. Please calm yourself. I'm a big fan of the medical show Grey's Anatomy. I often reference it when I try to join in conversation with Joanna and Kevin. I've watched all 15 seasons, and there's just some characters I'm not a fan of. For example, the conversations between the anesthesiologist and the brain surgeon are mind-numbing. Now more than ever is a fascinating time to be in medicine. There are so many amazing medical breakthroughs happening that are dramatically changing our quality of life. And in fact, the other day on NPR, I heard this interview with a guy who his whole left side was cut off. And it was a really difficult surgery, but he's all right now. When I was preparing these jokes, I tried to find some that were specific to Joanna and Kevin's specialties, but it turns out PMS jokes aren't funny, period. You know the old saying, an apple a day keeps a doctor away? Well, studies have shown that is only true if you aim well enough. Thank you. And lastly, I'll leave you with a bit of this trivia. A UCLA study showed that more doctors have cats than dogs. And obviously Joanna and Kevin are in good company. And so when the researchers asked the doctors why that is, the doctors replied that it's because dogs can't operate an MRI machine, but cats can. Okay, now onto the competitive gaming portion of the evening. Oh, we got 1 second, yeah. Okay.
Do I give it to them?
Yeah, give it to them.
So we got a Kevin face.
Okay.
And a Joanna face. And you get two as well.
Where should we face them?
So I think you should turn the chairs or face the crowd so they can see your answers. So I'm gonna read off a few who's the most likely to do something.
Stand up for a little bit. So they have to face away from each other, or?
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. The crowd just needs to see their
Like,
reactions.
see, like, who they pick.
Yeah, who they pick.
John, give them the white chair.
Here. No, these are the chairs.
This is the throne. Okay.
Thanks.
You guys are doctors, so
Yeah, that's very heavy.
Okay, so I'm gonna ask some questions about medical school as well as the coming future, and you guys have to lift the face of who you think is more likely to do this thing. Make sense?
Yeah.
All right. So in medical school, who had the most late night study sessions? Interesting.
Kevin didn't study.
Who was most likely to study 5 minutes before an exam and still ace it? Who was more likely to fall asleep during a lecture? Who is better at night shifts? Who is most likely to forget to wash their scrubs? Gross.
I've never forgotten to wash my scrubs.
Who is more likely to fall asleep in their scrubs? Who is more likely to eat vending machine food instead of pack a lunch? Who is more likely to take a patient's pulse without a clock in the room?
I've done that.
Who is more likely to get lost in the hospital their first week? Who would make the worst patient? Who is more likely to be the attending's favorite? Who is more likely to laugh inappropriately in front of a patient? And finally, who is more likely to talk about their cats with a patient? All right.
Yay!
Thank you for enduring that. Great audience.
Does anybody else want to go and say something?
You don't have to.
You don't have to.
Do the doctors want to say?
I do. I want to say one thing.
You should tell you.
I want to say one thing.
You'd love your flag.
Wow. So thank you so much, everybody, for doing this. Joanna told me that something was going on, and I thought she was like imagining things, but I guess she has she's more perceptive than I am. This is so wonderful. John, Anna, Marianne, Jesse, T-Dog. There's T-Dog. And I guess Nick and Sarah and my suit maybe helped a little bit. This is amazing, and I guess like when I was sitting there, I was thinking about with COVID. I think all of us have had so many things in our lives that were changed or taken away, and I think everyone's had some sense of like lamenting the things that we didn't have in this time. And as I was sitting there at this amazing graduation ceremony, I was reminded that sometimes breaking tradition is a good thing, and this was so much better than the real graduation that we were supposed to have. This was way more special, and we got to play fun games and get good jokes and have heartfelt comments from people that actually know us instead of some random person talking on the screen. So this was really special. Thank you, everybody. And I say that for Joanna too.
Hold on.
Yep.
Apologies, it's a
What?
bit
Did
long-winded.
you forget your speech?
This concludes our ceremony. Thank you all for coming. The end.
Man, I'm important.
Forgot to add one more thing to the Hippocratic Oath.
What's that?
I'm gonna build the insurance company.
Picture. Oh, okay.
Picture time. We gotta do this. Oh yeah,
Oh yeah, throw your hands up in the air.
Ready? 3. Wait.
Are they supposed to move their
Ready? 3, 2,